Hi there, welcome to Sports Tonight Live and a big day of sport on and off the field. Andy Murray is through to the Wimbledon semi-finals. He will play Wilfried Tsonga after beating David Ferrer in 3 sets to 1. But off the pitch is where the big story is tonight. The Arsenal forward Robin Van Persie has revealed on his website that he will not be signing a new contract at the club. With me in the studio to discuss the fallout from the big story this evening, John Cross, my colleague at the Daily Mirror and big Arsenal fan. Get your colours on the table. Nigel Spackman's a former Chelsea, Liverpool midfielder, so I'm sure you'll have lots to say about that and you'll be teasing him a bit. And the former News of the World reporter Aidan Magee. Good to have you all on the show. And first things first, your reaction to the big story. First you, John, to Robin Van Persie's revelation that he will not be signing a new deal at the club.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I think that's been coming, to be honest. I mean, I think he sat down, just a few days after the end of the season, made it pretty plain he wasn't going to, and that frankly he saw his future elsewhere. What does surprise me is the very aggressive nature of his statement. Very few players put themselves out there and make it public. It's a bold thing to do. I think the reasoning behind it is frankly that he's going to drive a move elsewhere from Arsenal. I think that's his motive, because Arsenal could turn around and say, we're going to hold you to the final year. By being so aggressive, by putting it out there, he's saying, I want to go. I don't sit well with the direction the club is going, and it leaves Arsenal in a very difficult position, and a position I think they'll probably have to sell him. I
agree with you. We're going to get you the statement from Arsenal and from Van Persie very shortly, but Nigel, what's your reaction so far?
Haven't we been here before? With Arsenal?
About the last 12 summers?
Yeah. At least this time something's been said up front from Van Persie's side of it anyway. I mean, I think with Nasri last year, and I think Fabregas last year, all those ex-players and probably you journalists was thinking, well, they're going to go. They're going to go here. And Arsenal didn't do anything about it. Suddenly they panicked at the end and got a couple of players in. But this time around, I agree with John. I think Van Persie wants to go. I'll be very surprised if he stays in this country, though.
Really?
I do. I know Man City want him.
Yeah.
I'm sure Man United will want him as well. But I just see him one of those players who I think Arsenal's his club here, a bit like Henry. I think he'll want to go abroad.
Oh, I'm not with you on that one. I think he's going to go to Man City. I don't think.
They've been watching him. Well, they've been watching him for about 2 years, actually. In fact, they've been watching a lot of Arsenal players for the last few years. In fact, they've even signed most. They've actually signed most of them, including off the pitch as well. Yeah. Obviously, he's not going to stay. I can't see a situation where Steve McManaman said in the last year of his contract in '98-99 that he was going to go, and he sort of didn't. He went through the motions in his last season, so I don't think he's ever going to stay. I think he'll go this summer, and like Nigel, I think he'll probably go abroad. I think City will bid, but I think it'll be hard for Arsenal to stomach another sale to Manchester City, especially now that given that they're Premier League champions, and that would put them even further ahead.
Okay, well look, I've got Van Persie's statement right here. I'm going to read you a bit of it because he says, I personally have had a great season, but my goal has been to win trophies with the team and to bring the club back to its glory days. Out of my huge respect to Mr. Wenger, the players and the fans, I don't want to go into any detail, but unfortunately in the meeting that he's had with the club and the chief executive, Ivan Gatsidis, it's again become clear to me that we in many ways disagree on the way Arsenal FC should move forward. And it goes back to what you were saying about the aggressive nature of the statement. We'll talk about a couple of other things he said on there in a second, but he seems to be saying they don't want to win things and I do. And that doesn't sit well with me, considering they've just brought in a world-class forward, Lucas Podolski, and a very, very good striker in Olivier Giroud.
Yeah, I think they're building a team that can challenge for trophies. I think they're also, let's be honest, they're building a team that you could see next season lining up without Van Persie. It must be in their minds. The signings that they've made could tell you that Podolski might play left, Giroud through the middle, Gervinho on the right, and suddenly they've got a lineup, a forward-looking lineup that functions and scores goals.
But the point I'm trying to make, though, Cross, is that when you look at the players they've brought in, he's saying we disagree on the direction of the club. And the club is saying, well, we want to win things, so we're going to bring better players in. They're not bringing in 16 and 17-year-olds.
Yeah, what frustrates me, I think, about Van Persie in his statement is that, let's be honest here, he's had one good season in 8.
Exactly.
He has had a world-class campaign.
I'd say that was the first time he's completed a season in injury.
Yeah.
In terms of injuries, he's probably probably about 15, 20 more games this season, isn't he, including all competitions?
You see, this is the thing. Your default position now is going to be to defend Van Persie.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to defend anyone. He's coming out of contract. Arsenal shouldn't have let it go this far anyway.
Totally agree.
In my opinion.
Totally agree.
Now, do Arsenal say, well, okay, we'll play it right down to the wire and we'll try and get as much money as we can at the end of August or before the end of August because we've got other players in? But I'm looking at it and saying, from Van Persie's point of view, Arsenal haven't won a trophy for 7 years. That's an awful long time. You might say he's been there for 8. But,
and isn't he just saying what the fans are saying anyway as well?
Absolutely. I think the fans are saying the same. So I don't think the Arsenal fans would be surprised that he's leaving. I don't think anybody in football would be surprised that he's leaving. But what I'd say is, it's all right signing the likes of Podolski and Giroud. Okay, but you need more players than that if they're to challenge Man City for the title next year. Well, I still think they need a top centre-back. I still think they need a midfield player who can complement the likes of whoever you're going to play. I mean,
it's also depth in the squad, isn't it?
Yeah, because we haven't talked about Walcott, we haven't talked about Oxlade-Chamberlain, 2 English players who we want to see playing next year on a regular basis for Arsenal to get in the England team on a regular basis. But we're signing, Gervinho, you say, are going to get in, and Podolski on the other side. Where are those two going to get into the team? So I'm looking at it and going from a personal point of view. I just feel that Robin Van Persie looks at it and says, we are not good enough to win trophies.
You see, Spackers, you almost contradict yourself in a way because you say there isn't enough depth, and then you just mentioned, 2 candidates per the right, Gervinho and Walcott. You've mentioned Oxlade-Chamberlain, and you've mentioned, was it Wilshere, did you mention?
No, I didn't mention Jack because I hope he comes back and he'd be a fantastic addition to their squad. But what I'm saying is I don't think Gervinho is good enough yet. I've saw him playing French football on the left-hand side. But what I'm saying is this is what we're talking about. If you take the squad of Arsenal and compare it to Man City, they've got players who can come in and be just as good.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I do think Gervinho wouldn't get a game at Man City, Man United. That's the long short of it. Yeah, absolutely. If he can improve, then that's fine. I think that basically Van Persie's frustration, isn't out of this summer. I think it's out of last summer. I mean, I went on Arsenal's pre-season tour to Asia, and I can tell you what, we sat down with him when it was apparent. Then even more so to him. No, with him actually, when it was obvious that Nasri and Fabregas were going to go, and frankly, those 2 players, you could see the frustration. He made it plain that he wanted more quality, more strength in depth. Frankly, I think he did really well in the season. He was magnificent. He deservedly won Player of the Year gongs.
Absolutely,
but it emerged throughout the season. The proof was there that they'd sold their 2 prize assets, that they weren't going to go in the same direction, that they weren't going to win the title this year. They were not going to win it next year, and this is his frustration.
Well, there comes a point you have to think yourself.
Let me just quickly give you a bit more of Van Persie's statement because he put it on his website, so there's no doubt as to its veracity. He makes a couple of points that I want to give to you all. He says, as announced earlier this year, I had a meeting with the boss and Mr. Gazidis after the season. This was a meeting about the club's future strategy and their policy. So obviously not just about him, but about where they're going as a club. He says, financial terms or a contract have not been discussed since that's not my priority at all. Now, I don't believe that. I believe finances do come into it. And players often say that. But anyway, the other thing he says that struck me is, I'm very proud of being part of this fantastic club for 8 years. As soon as Mr. Gazidis is back from his 2-week holiday in America, further meetings will follow and I will update you if and when there are more developments. Now, in fairness, I'm going to say Arsenal put a statement out. Mark Ganella, their Director of Communications, says that that's not true that he's on holiday. He says that chief executives don't have 2-week holidays in any company. Who's telling the truth?
Well, I think the American philosophy on holidays, on vacations, as they call it, is somewhat different to ours. Is that when they do go away, they switch the phone off, switch the email off, and incommunicado. I think that basically it's a difficult one to call, but I know he's had holidays previously. In previous windows.
And let's be clear, you cover Arsenal on a regular basis for the
Yeah, I do actually think, you know what, he's a really good administrator. I think that he's clearly not seeing eye to eye with Robin Van Persie over this or his representatives, and I think actually Robin Van Persie has been disrespectful to Ivan Gazidis, who's put forward a great contract to him, 3-year contract, £130,000 a week, great signing on fee. It would make him an extremely rich player. He is an extremely rich player already now, and I think he's not only been disrespectful there to the chief executive. Everyone's entitled to a holiday, but it's just what sort of holiday you take, really.
But he gets £200,000 a week at City, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but
that's how these boys think. The other thing you've got to consider, Darren, is his age. You know, he's 29. How long
28.
Has 28? Okay. How long has Arsene Wenger been saying he's going to build a team to win the league. Even if they are doing it properly now, even if they are going to win things, it's still going to take another 2-3 years for those players to sell in. He'll be 32. And he'll have there'll be nowhere for him to go.
They've
and
waited a long time for him to be fit.
But this time,
I know, but loyalty. Sorry, I'll let you speak.
But this time last year, don't forget, Arsenal had to play in the preliminary round of the Champions League. They lost two of their best players. Everybody was calling for the head, or a lot of Arsenal supporters were calling for the head of Arsene Wenger. It was in turmoil this time last year. This is something that's been going on over the last 2 years, trying to get Van Persie to sign a contract. He's had a fantastic season. Suddenly, this has changed. The powerhouse has changed from Arsenal being in control to him being in control because they let it go too far, and he's had a fantastic season.
Agree.
And I don't agree that it's just about money. It's about winning trophies. If you're a top player, there's very few who stay at a club, i.e., Steven Gerrard stayed with Liverpool, but he won the Champions League, but not been able to champ. Shearer, yeah, but in this decade now, I just look at it and say, okay, most players will move on for a better offer, but it's not just about money; it's about winning things.
And this thing about loyalty, Darren, as well. I mean, if he wasn't. He was in the team because he's doing well. It's not loyalty in the sense that we're sticking by him. All right, John said he was injured, but if he was not playing well, not doing the business, they'd have shipped him out ages ago.
Well, I'm not having that, but I'm going to come back to that because here's a club statement from Arsenal on their website in response to the very detailed statement on the website of Robin Van Persie. This is what they've had to say. We have to respect Robin's decision not to renew his contract. Robin has 1 year to run on his current contract, and we're confident that he will fulfil his commitments to the club. We are planning with ambition and confidence for next season with Arsenal's best interests in mind. That suggests to me they may hold him to the next 12 months, which would be remarkable.
I just don't think he can do it. I just don't think he can do it. When he's put himself out there like that, he's made it clear that he's not happy with the direction he's going at. So what does that tell you? It tells you he's not happy at the club. I just think it would be a long and painful goodbye. I think that Van Persie's performance has actually dropped away from about mid-April, when I think he's probably his focus and his intensity dropped a little bit.
That's only about 3 weeks, though, John.
Well, yeah, but
you noticed it.
He scored again.
If you're Arsenal here, Arsenal should just try and get as much money for them and say if somebody comes in and offers them 12 million, and the club he wants to go only offers 8, he goes, well, you have to stay here, son. And then you call that their bluff.
Agree. Big opinions on a big story tonight. Robin Van Persie has told Arsenal that he does not want to extend his contract. We'll have more from our three wise men here in the Sports Tonight studio after this.
I mean, I think he sat down, just a few days after the end of the season, made it pretty plain he wasn't going to, and that frankly he saw his future elsewhere. What does surprise me is the very aggressive nature of his statement. Very few players put themselves out there and make it public.
In the studio to discuss the fallout from the big story this evening, John Cross, my colleague at the Daily Mirror and big Arsenal fan. Got your colours on the table. Nigel Spackman's a former Chelsea, Liverpool midfielder, so I'm sure you'll have lots to say about this. He will play Joe Wilfred Zonga after beating David Ferrer in 3 sets to 1. But off the pitch is where the big story is tonight. The Arsenal forward Robin Van Persie has revealed on his website that he will not be signing a new contract at the club. With me, and you'll be teasing him a bit, and the former News of the World reporter Aidan Magee. Good to have you all on the show. And first things first, your reaction to the big story. First you, John, to Robin Van Persie's revelation that he will not be signing a new deal at the club.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I think that's been coming, to be honest.
Hi there, welcome to Sports Tonight Live and a big day of sport on and off the field. Andy Murray is through to the Wimbledon semi-final.